We also have this 1920s Arthur Hensel mahogany mandolin. For you guys that have the GPS unit, this is the mini neck assembly with a single block. When you're working on violins, mandolins, ukes, any of the smaller instruments, you just slip the guitar neck support off and slip the mandolin neck support off. So this Arthur Hensel mandolin is in for a couple of things, sort of restring light fret dress and just sort of verify the bridge placement. But we also have a little bit of lifting binding that we're going to take care of. I'm going to show you how to do that. Start by getting these strings off. Some of you may have seen that 1920 Arthur Hensel guitar that I did a neck reset on. This is the same guy, very prolific. Lived in Toronto in the 1920s, and he put out a lot of instruments single-handed. A chip-carved headstock, which is kind of interesting. I'll bring you in for a closer look later. Get these strings off first, and we'll fix up that binding, and I'll show you how I do that. I've taped that into place, that bridge, so I don't have to worry about finding the sweet spot, although we will check it when we put the new strings on. But right now we just want to get to that binding. There's been so many different glues over the years that have been tried on plastic. Most of them fail. I've got a very common glue that I'm going to show you that you can pick up at Canadian Tire or just about anywhere. It's kind of taken the market by storm, although there are some definite precautions when you use this glue. And that is what I'm here to show you. For this repair, you do need to wet the area. This is just water, and that is the catalyst for this glue. You have to use it very, very sparingly. This is your Gorilla Glue. Get it just about anywhere. And this stuff works. It does expand to 4 times its actual volume, so it must be used extremely sparingly. It's as simple as that. So I've got 2 pieces of masking tape kind of ganged up there, and we're going to use that to just press that into place. I'm running my thumbnail along there tight to the top and then folding it over. And we got another one right on the seam. Kind of pull that across. Let that sit for a few hours. We'll come back to that. Maybe put a double one here for good measure. And that's it. So we'll bring you back for another look once that sets. We'll set this aside for now. So we're done with the mini neck assembly for now. The Hensel mandolin. You can have a look at that binding now that it's set. So this is what we ended up with. That was that crack. That binding, as you remember, was just kind of flapping. So I'm just scraping off a little tiny bit of glue squeeze. Like I had cautioned everyone, you know, when you use that Gorilla Glue, it's fantastic for this job. Never had it fail yet. But it does expand 4 times its volume, so you got to use it very sparingly. So the problems with that binding are done. It'll never come off now. Oh, this is how I do this with the mandolin. I actually push the mandolin into the loop, so the strap loops across the base of the body, and I'm pushing into the strap. The neck block supports the actual neck itself, and of course I've got it masked off with those masks that you guys have in your kits. I'm using some 400 grit sandpaper on this scrub block that, once again, all you guys have in your kits. The actual frets were fairly level, so I'm really just doing a light dress and buffing them up to a mirror shine before we put the new strings on. Here is our 600 grit. A couple of passes here. These frets are brass, so they're really soft. 1920, still enough fret on there to work with, actually. Actually in pretty good shape. Okay, so I'm just kind of steel wooling this clean, like so. I know that the customer has a recording session coming up, so he's kind of anxious to get it back. So we're going to put those fresh strings on, and then we'll work on the bridge locate to make sure we've got the intonation on the money. I've already loaded that with compound. We're kind of holding that in place. I have the neck supported here with a single mini neck assembly, and I'm pushing into this strap as I buff. A quick little wipe with some lemon oil. Wipe it on, wipe it off. Okay, we can remove that mask now. We've located the bridge so that the open string and octave for the low G and for the high E chorus are in tune. The action could stand to come down a little tiny bit, and I'm going to show you how we do this. So to get a more intimate contact on the underside of that bridge, we're going to cut a spherical radius to encourage this bridge to contact all the way across. So we're back to our spherical radius sander. This is operated with a foot switch. I actually have some sanders on the way for my Patreon subscribers. It's a very useful tool to have for multiple purposes. So we're going to cut that spherical radius into the underside of that bridge. And we're going to check it again for fit. So just give it a little bit more. And smell the Brazilian rosewood. Okay, let's see what our fit looks like now. Well, you saw the previous fit of the bridge, so that intimacy is what we were looking for. I also made up this locator plate so the customer can instantly locate the perfect location for perfect intonation for the bridge. As you can see, it's just a piece of bristle board. He's got to treat it gingerly, but this takes all the guesswork out of where that bridge is supposed to go, because it moves around pretty easily, and even strumming hard you can kind of knock it out of place. So now the customer can easily locate the bridge exactly where it needs to be. I've got the D'Addario EJ74 strings marked on that as well, with all the string gauges and its concert pitch. For those of you who saw the Hensel Artist guitar that I did the video on the neck reset, you'll remember this chip carving in the headstock. So all of this was chip carved. That's his sort of insignia. And this guy was very prolific. He put out a lot of instruments. Well, definitely from the early 20s and probably into the 30s. Arthur Hensel.